Hey y'all, welcome to Fitting into Homemaking. Today you can tell I'm wearing my apron, so it's going to be a Bake with Sarah day, which is not a thing, but we're going to go with it for today. So today is a very special Bake with Sarah branded day. We are going to be baking a birthday cake. So on both my side of the family and my husband's side of the family, it's tradition for mom to make the kids' birthday cakes, and I absolutely love that tradition and I get so much joy from it. However, this year I am quite anxious, nervous, whatever you want to call it, to make this cake. Last year, my daughter asked for a strawberry pink birthday cake with some berries on top and some other requirements, and I totally got it. Like each year before this, very confident I could do it because I like to bake. However, this year, she didn't specify the cake flavor, but she did have inspiration pictures to show me, and she wants a unicorn cake. And while I like to bake, I am not a cake decorator. And this year, all of the pictures she was showing me were very like Pinterest perfect, and I'm not certain I can do that. So the challenge for the cake this year for me is not going to be the actual cake. In fact, we are using boxed funfetti cake, okay? Because the rest of it is a bit overwhelming for me, and funfetti fits the unicorn theme. Everyone loves funfetti at a party. So this is what we're doing for the actual cake part. The part I'm nervous about is the decorating part. So I've tried to make it a little bit easier on myself. I went on the Amazon and we have this little stick pin thing that goes on top with the unicorn horn and the ears, because this was something in the inspiration pictures that she liked. So I found this one on Amazon, and it also comes with various sets of eyes, which sounds really creepy. But it also has these glitter eyes with eyelashes. There were some other options that came in this kit, but I've chosen these. So what happens is you stick this on the top of the cake and you stick this on the sides of the cake, okay? So we're gonna do that. And if it was just that, perfect. And that might be what it ends up at. But in all the pictures that she showed me, there were also like these really intricate mains, either made out of like piped flowers or like curly Q hair swirls, and it was all rainbow colors, so lots of different frosting colors. So that is the part where I feel like there is a huge chance for failure. We also, for my son and daughter in our family, we have made a small cake for them. So these are the cake tins I'm going to use, which I like because the bottom, the outside ring releases. I forget what these are actually called, and I feel like an idiot because I should know that. But I forget what these are called. Look it up, put it in the comments below. But the sides come away from the cake, so it makes it really easy to get the cake out. So this is her like personal cake that I'm decorating. And then we have a half sheet, a deep half sheet, where I'm going to do a sheet. How many times can I say sheet in a row? A sheet cake for the birthday guest. So this is going to take 2 boxes of funfetti, maybe 2 things of icing, I don't know. And then in case the piping goes really horrifically wrong, I just got some rainbow mix sprinkles that I'm going to sprinkle on the top. If the piping goes really well, maybe I'll do some piping around the edge of it, but I'm not terribly concerned. That cake is like definitely for eating rather than for looks. And yes, I am going to wash out the inside of this pan since I have these outside things sitting in the bottom of it right now. So first steps, make the funfetti cakes so that they have time to cool. The next step is to make buttercream frosting, which I have failed at multiple times in the past, but it has been many, many years since I have tried. I found a recipe online. It's a 5-star recipe. It has something like, that's what this stuff is over here. It's got heavy whipping cream. It's got clear vanilla flavoring, which thankfully I was able to find at the store. It's got a pound of butter. It's got 2 pounds of powdered sugar. It's got pudding mix in it. So I'm really hoping that that's going to go well. Then I have my no artificial dyes food coloring, which artificial dye, so like whatever, we're just going with it. And then of course we have the number 4 because she's turning 4 on Sunday and her party is Saturday. So hopefully this video will post Saturday, the day of her party. Right now that is tomorrow though while I'm filming. I did go on Amazon and get a piping kit. Oh my goodness, that was a horrible thing to do. A piping kit with way too many bags. I'm not ever gonna use this many piping bags, but there we are. And an obscene number of tips that I have no clue what shapes these make. So I will be watching some YouTube videos to learn how to make some shapes. Darn it, I forgot the waxed paper when I was at the store. Anyhow, maybe I will just make the shapes on this stuff since I know I'm not going to use all of these. Because I want to make the shapes not on the cake because I know it's going to go horribly wrong before it goes well, I'm sure. But then that way I can like scrape them off that and then place it on the cake without ruining the cake. So yeah, those are the steps. Make the funfetti cake, make the buttercream frosting, hope that goes well, dye it many colors of the rainbow, and then attempt to make some colorful flowers, piped flowers out of buttercream, and then frost the cake and put the flowers on. And then tomorrow is actually when I'll stick this in because it'd be hard to transport that way. Maybe I'll put the eyes on today too. But that's what we're doing today. And I'm not at all confident. So let's get started. The oven is preheated to 350. I'm not going to go through how to make funfetti cake. I mean, instructions are on the box. It's pretty simple. That is why I got it, because I know most of my day is going to be spent making the frosting and with demoralizing attempts at piping flowers or curly Q hair or whatever. All right, and I'm not about to try to tear this bag open and then have it explode everywhere. While I was at the store, I did get emotional support potato chips and emotional support ho-hos in case this all goes sideways and I need a little backup. So we have that going for us. I don't want the trash bin out. We'll just put it on the bench there. All right. All right, so I need a cup of water. And yes, this is way too much cake mix for these 2 cake things. Half cup of oil. Oh, sorry, that was probably horrendously loud. And 3 eggs. I guess I will get my trash bin out. I just don't like having it sit out because then I always trip over it. But I guess that's better than having like nasty egg stuff flying around. All right. That didn't go well. You guys, this is not a good sign. Can't even break the egg today. All right, you know what? I need to be not so hard on myself. Let's practice a little self-compassion. Not very good at that. All right, 3 eggs. Yeah, we're just mixing it up until it's not quite so chunky. Okay, that sounds going to irritate the snot out of me. The bench was just pushed all the way under, so it was, the table leg was hitting against it. And yes, I know I'm holding this spatula like a barbarian, but, you know, whatever. I love how the directions on here says beat cake mix, water, oil, and eggs in bowl on mixer. Sorry, on medium speed. With mixer on medium speed for 2 minutes. This does not bode well for me reading a recipe I haven't made before. Sorry, I'm really like being negative Nancy today. I don't mean to be. Just, I guess that's just my anxiety about this whole project coming through. Which I shouldn't be anxious about. This should be fun. I love baking. And I love doing really fun stuff for my daughter. When my daughter heard that I was making this cake today, she actually said, "Oh, can I stay home from daycare and help you make it?" And I told her that I wanted it to be a fun surprise for her, knowing that there is no way I would actually be able to concentrate and properly make the frosting that I have screwed up many times before, and all that sort of thing. So luckily she was like, "Oh, okay, great. What do I want to do with this extra cake?" I have 2 more of these. Let me get those. I think that, will that fill it up? Probably not. Never have done it before, that's what I've done. So let's just do that. Excuse me for the obscene loudness. So I'll probably just cut this out, or maybe not. We'll see how much time I have to edit this, since I'm going to try to turn this around tonight. Oh, these cabinets go back way farther than is useful. All right. All right. Springform. I think these are called springform pans. Let's get that on the bottom correctly. All right. Fantastic. Let's go get some spray. The sweater is going to irritate the snot out of me, but it's not warm in the house right now. All right, I think I got more of that on my thumb than in the pans, but that's okay. Line these up to try to make not as much of a mess as I know is going to happen here. Maybe I only need 3. Making these cakes is literally the only time I use these things, so I can never remember exactly how full to make them. All right, apparently we're just going to need 3. And yet we'll still get to wash 4 pans because I already sprayed the other one. It's okay though. Maybe should have stopped at half full. Sorry guys, I am so freaking wishy-washy today. We'll go with it. I don't think it's going to overflow. I will scoop a little bit of this one out and put it in the other ones though. All right, this is useless. Sorry guys, my videos have been way more chaotic lately than usual. All right, that's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. Just imagine the fire graphic behind me. All right, let's get these, not that one, because I don't want to start a fire. Let's get these in the oven. And then I will rinse that one out and do the bigger one, the sheet cake, so that has time to cool too. We'll put on a timer for, we'll check them around 20 minutes. I know they're not going to be done after 20 minutes, but I'll be able to gauge a little bit better how much more time we need. All right. And I should have just used the bigger one for this because now I'm going to need to use, I don't know what I was thinking. Actually, I do know what I was thinking. I was thinking I'm only using one box for this, so I'll use the smaller bowl and then I'll use the bigger bowl for the 2 boxes, even though it's the same exact mix. So I could have just used the bigger bowl and saved myself some dishes. But I also just sprayed a pan that I'm not going to use, so there you go. And my kitchen is not clean at the moment, so I guess that's fine. And in a little while, probably within the next hour or so, my husband's going to be home from work early because they have a half day today. And hopefully he'll just put in his earplugs and go take a nap because he's been sick. Otherwise, he's going to hear me talking to myself like a crazy person. Although pretty certain he kind of already knows that about me. The COVID lockdown happened about 6 months after we got married. So that was a super fun discovery experience. All right. 2 more boxes, rainbow sprinkles. And I love using this because it also has this. So I can just pop that on there and then it travels really well. Sorry, that was obscenely loud. All right. Get this washed real quick since I had nasty outside stuff in it. And we don't want to make people eat out of something that has nasty outside stuff in it. Did I not get any soap on that? There it goes, that's better. Not trying to make anyone sick. All right, it's also just kind of been sitting in the cabinet for a little while, so We do use this for other stuff other than birthday cakes. But I love these pans. We have little grids that go in them. So this is a half sheet with the higher sides, and then we have two other half sheets that are like a normal kind of cookie sheet, like half this high on the sides. And they're just really nice pans. They're Nordic ware, so they're nicer than like the really cheap pans, but they're not super duper expensive. And they're just made out of aluminum, so you can scrub them really well. Put that over there. I'll put that back over there because I don't need it just yet. All right, here we go. Now, this is the game of, can Sarah remember to double everything in the recipe? A little ASMR for you guys. You grunting, Max? Max is supervising from off camera over here. Sorry, I've seen those videos where they're like doing restocks and they're like, here's a mug. And it just seems so silly. But you know what? They have bajillions more followers and views and are making bank. So more power to them. Okay. We need not 1 cup of water, but 2 cups of water. Uno. Dos. Okay. Not sure why I said that in Spanish. I was actually, wait, let me count out eggs first before I tell a story and F this up. So we need 3 eggs for 1 box. So that means 6 eggs for 2 boxes because I'm really good at math. All right. Now I know just to use all the eggs in here. Let me put this up so I don't get tempted to use it more. And before I do that, let's pour out the oil because that's step 2 in here and I did not do that yet. So instead of a half cup of oil, I need a full cup of oil. Oh, and if you've watched some of my other baking, cooking videos, you'll notice that usually I screw something up in them. Either I don't have enough ingredients or I don't have the right ingredients or I've misread the recipe and left something out. I definitely went to the store, got everything I thought I needed for like the decorating and that sort of thing, and then came back and realized I had neither enough eggs nor enough oil, so I had to go back to the store to get them, which was fine because I also needed to pick up a prescription. So I was gonna have to go back out anyway. What am I doing? Not a half cup of oil, but a full cup of oil. All right, let's focus for a minute. That's not where it goes. All right, put that back in there so I don't get tempted to add it again. All right, so what was I saying? Oh yeah, so it was fine because I had to pick up my prescription, which leads me to the story I was going to tell before, which is not really an interesting story, but it just popped in my head. I was picking up my prescription, but I thought I actually had to order it first. So So I got like shuffled down to like the prescription drop-off area instead of the pickup area, which I didn't realize was a separate thing. And talked to the person there. But as I was going to talk to her, the person who had been standing in line behind me said hi to the pharmacist. And the pharmacist obviously knew this gentleman and said hi back to them, but then had some very brief, like, how are you? That sort of thing in Italian. And Italian was the language that I learned in college, to the point where I had, okay, so that's 3. So let's go ahead and put those in there so I don't overflow this. To the point where, so I have a bachelor's degree in history of art, but for most of the time I was in college, I was also double majoring in medieval and early modern studies, which maybe explains a little bit why I'm so into like plague and syphilis and, you know, just that point in history. I just find it interesting. But I don't hear a lot of Italian in the area where I live. I live in central North Carolina, and I just feel like there's not a huge Italian American contingent here, or, you know, recent Italian immigrants, unlike some other places. So I was just like so taken aback by hearing Italian spoken instead of Spanish, because I hear Spanish spoken a lot where I am. This is a very full bowl. This might be a bad idea. Let me go wash my hands real quick to get the egg off. But yeah, the lady in front of me, who I said, oh, I need to get a prescription refilled. And then I heard the Italian happening over here and just totally like zoned out and was listening into their conversation, just staring at them like a weirdo. Because I was just so surprised to hear it, you know, and obviously I can understand what they're saying. No, I'm not fluent in Italian anymore, but that's what I was saying. My programs that I did in college required a higher level of foreign language fluency, I guess, than just your normal college degree would. So I had to take the equivalent of 2 years of the language, and then I had to take another year of the language, but that third year of the language were actually courses taught in the language, but they weren't language courses. So I took an Italian Renaissance Lit course where the course was taught in Italian, but then the texts that we were reading a lot of times were side-by-side texts where they had Renaissance Italian and modern Italian. And then the other class I took was Italian poetry. So I'm sure all of the students in that Italian poetry class, to anyone who was fluent in Italian, just sounded like absolute idiots, because we're trying to figure out, you know, we're stretching for the vocabulary at that point of expressing our feelings and emotions that the poetry evoked. And, you know, it's like, oh, this character is wonderful, you know, and it's just like, it was a challenge, and I'm sure we sounded like idiots. But through doing that, I did learn quite a bit of Italian, to the point where I would forget some of the words in English because they wouldn't be used as often in English as they were in Italian. And then I would just go, it was such an immersive type of thing. I had language classes every single day of the week, because they were 1-hour classes. Not every single day. They were 4 days a week, since they were language classes, and they were an hour long. So it was just a lot of foreign language at a time. Like, not as much as like military folks go through, I'm assuming, but it, you know, it was pretty immersive. And so I hadn't heard Italian probably since the one time I've ever traveled abroad. My best friend and her husband lived in the Emirates, in the United Arab Emirates, for, I think it was like 4.5 years. But I went over to visit one time. And so we did like a 3-day weekend in Dubai. And then the friend I was traveling with and I went to Cairo and Luxor in Egypt during my friend's work week. These eggs are just not wanting to mix in. And then we did another 3-day weekend with my best friend and her husband in Abu Dhabi, which was like thrilling because I grew up watching Garfield and he always mailed either Odie or Normal to Abu Dhabi. And I was like, wow, that must be like the farthest away place on earth. So it was like fun to actually be there. But that was the last time I think that I heard Italian spoken, because I just haven't traveled to any of the US cities where there is a large Italian population, like I said before. So I was just so totally distracted that this lady had to ask me the same question like 3 times. And I like apologized. I was like, I'm so sorry. Yes. And it turned out that my prescription had actually been refilled automatically, which I didn't think they did. Well, I know that they do that. I didn't think they did it because I hadn't told them to do it. I didn't like set it up that way. But yeah, so then I just like got right back in the line I had been in before. But it all went really quickly. So fun story, huh? But it was nice to hear Italian again. And this was like the first week Italian 101, so I could still understand what they were saying. It was just like, hey, how are you? Good, 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 not very good. Yeah, I'm okay. You know, that sort of thing is like, well, obviously he's picking up medicine, so maybe he's not doing great. But anyhow, it was a little highlight of my morning, picking up a prescription. All right, let's see. I think this is, I want to make sure this gets mixed in well enough without any of the chunks, without over mixing it. I mean, it's box cake, so I don't feel like this ever gets like, some other things, when you over mix it and it has eggs in it, it gets kind of tough. I don't think I've ever had that happen with a box mix though. It's probably, you know, but I also don't want someone to bite into a chunk of like unmixed baking mixture. Okay. Get this out of the way. Put these over here. I'll probably give you guys a close-up of these. I have no clue what these tips do. No clue. I mean, obviously the round ones, I know what it's going to look like when it comes out, but some of the other ones. Okay, this is recycling, so that can go there. This is not recycling because I hate the earth. Very sarcastic. Please don't quote me on that. Let's put this up. Even though I know I'll need that later. I'm just trying to make room so I don't make a huge mess out of pouring this in this pan. Okay. Let's see, there's a chunk. It's okay, Sorry, here you go. Forget I'm filming sometimes. Actually, I don't forget I'm filming. I forget I have to turn things towards the camera sometimes. Speaking about forgetting things, so back in the days when I had time to watch TV without falling asleep within the first 3 minutes of it, we actually don't even have a TV in the house anymore, but I would watch it on my laptop too. I liked watching K-dramas because they were just so different from American TV. And I don't mind reading subtitles because, let's be honest, I'm of the age where I have the subtitles on anyway, so I can hear the conversation over the massive amount of special effect noises. I always feel like the conversation is so low and then they're like, but you really need to hear the exact volume of this rocket exploding. But yeah, so I don't mind reading subtitles because I do it anyway. But I find them really enjoyable, but sometimes I'll like get really into it and then, oh, there's another chunk. We'll get that mixed in. Sometimes I'm really enjoying it, and then I like walk away to go do something else, and I'm still listening to it. And then like 5 minutes later, I realize I have no clue what has happened in the last 5 minutes because I all of a sudden have not magically started to understand Korean because I don't know Korean. So I started doing Duolingo, and I don't have time to watch the K-drama, so I actually don't have really time to study it. So I just keep going back and like refresh learning the I don't know if you would call it an alphabet or not, but their lettering system. So I know the letters really well. I just don't have any vocab unless it's something that I've heard in a K-drama like 5,000 times. All right. Wonder actually if I should have done 3. I feel like this will puff up enough where it's not going to be an issue. All right, I'm gonna set this elsewhere because we can go ahead and get started making the icing or the frosting. Is there a difference? I'm not certain. Okay. Trying to focus. All right, here's the bowl. I'm going to need to get out our mixer. I'm going to keep this over here because I will not remember how long this needs to bake. And I'll get the mixer out. It's starting to smell good though. Wonder why he didn't put the bowl back in here. And this has little feet on it, so I don't mind it going right on the table. Note to self, don't grab it by the little movable part. Oh my goodness, that's driving me nuts. I don't know if you guys could hear that or not. And it's still doing it. We actually do use this usually. We were using it weekly for a while because my husband was making pizza dough, but he's gotten busy and not been able to do that lately. So we haven't been using it as often, but his main job is to make pizza dough. This is off right before I plug it in. Have you guys ever not checked that something is off and it's not off and you plug it in and it turns on like the vacuum cleaner and it scares the snot out of you? Let me go take care of this. All right, let's see how we're doing. Oh no. Okay. Don't watch, I'm being really careful. So those rose a lot higher than I thought they were going to. Stop dripping so I can get something under y'all. All right. Well, like I said, I had some reservations about filling them that full. You guys heard me say that. I feel like last time I used all 4. I figured I could just cut them in half if I needed to. And yes, I'm using a cheese slicer because it's a flat metal thing that I have. And I don't want to put plastic or silicone in here. Well, that makes me feel better about this cake because I know it's gonna rise a lot more. All right. I think that's got the burning stuff off the bottom. So what we're gonna do is this middle one is not dripping. So we're gonna push this one towards the back and hopefully position the drip so that it's not dripping on the grate anymore. Okay, this will be better. And then I'm gonna reach this one forward. Okay. Definitely needs more time. All right, so hopefully that is the one thing that goes wrong during this process today. Knew I should have used that fourth one because I was pretty certain that's what I'd done in the past. But you know what? Is that a big chunk? Yes, I'm using my finger, but I did just wash my hands. Get these chunks out. Very professional, which I'm not, obviously. All right. Hopefully those do bake through. If not, I will just go back to the store and get more cake. It will not be a big deal. Okay, let me rinse this one out. Goodness. I don't even know if you guys could see that, but I wasn't about to take you guys off the tripod over here and go up close because I really wanted to get the things that were burning on my oven in my oven grate off. But yeah, those definitely overflowed because there's too much in each. Great. I always have trouble getting this on here. Like if I get one side, it's very difficult to get the other side. There we go. Success. Okay, see, the emotional support chips help. They help. Okay. Let me open my laptop and get this recipe. All right. Paddle attachment. Okie doke. Is this room temperature yet? Does not feel room temperature. All right. So sorry, I was just staring off into space there. I need to soften some butter quickly because this is not at room temperature yet. So I'm gonna boil some water in my electric kettle. I'm gonna chop up the butter into smaller pieces, and then I'm gonna put the hot glasses over them because apparently that is how to soften it faster. Because I think this is the critical point where I usually, oops, I literally just tripped over my own feet. The critical point where I usually fail is I think my butter has not softened enough, because let me show you. I don't even know what this bag is from. So we have butter that sits at room temperature, so it's spreadable. Look at how soft that is. Like, I just barely touched it and it made a divot, versus these are, they're still cold. I'm actually leaving butter on there from the other. So we need it to be like this. But for this recipe, I also need a pound of butter. So a pound of butter is 4 sticks. And I don't have a pound of butter just at room temperature at the ready. So I thought that this would warm up. I was about to say cool off, but that's the opposite of what I want. Thought that this would warm up to room temperature a little bit more quickly, but it has not, which is fine. Maybe a quarter. She'll work faster if they're cut up smaller anyway. Look, they have lots of these tiny ones for sets. And we'll just get a butter softening operation going on here. Let's give these guys time to warm up. as I'm spilling hot water everywhere. And we will just rotate through these. Spilling everywhere. Okay. Hey guys. Not sure why I'm not drinking out of this cup today, but is that gonna fit on top? Apparently this is the way to soften it without completely melting it in the microwave or something like that. All right, we'll see how that works. Let the hot water sit in these guys for a little bit longer. How long does it say to do this? In a few minutes. Okay. Coffee break. Well, not coffee breaks. I don't drink coffee, but tea. Actually, I'm supposed to be doing laundry right now too, so I'm gonna pause y'all and then we will come back. All right, it's been a few minutes. My kids' laundry is in the washing machine. I had an OF moment. No, not OF. Not OF. Because that stands for something else now. I had an oh shit moment and remembered that the small cakes were in there and they were probably ready to come out. So I went and I pulled those out and they're done. So I'll take you over there so that you can see the slight catastrophe that those are, but they should still be good. Let's see. Ooh, it's doing well on the outside at least. Let's see. And these are not super hot now, so. I feel like it does it like the microwave does, where the outside's, yeah, the inside is still not great, so maybe I'll just use the smaller ones. It just kind of makes the outside melty like it does if you did it in the microwave, so now my hands are all buttery. So I don't know that that is that much better than doing it in the microwave. Maybe there is less chance of it just straight up melting if you do it for too long. That one didn't really do too much, but we will go ahead and try it again. Even though these are not that warm anymore. We'll give it another few minutes. I actually have a 4 over here that I should probably be using. Where's my towel? All right. I'm just gonna pour the water back into the kettle because there is absolutely no point in wasting that amount of water. All right. You know, I'll leave these on for as long as they are kind of just melting the outside, but we'll do that and then we'll do these last little too. All right, what did I do with that towel? I keep losing the towel. You know what? These would be good to do the piping on because the piping's obviously not going to stick to this, like the reusing of it. So let me just scrape the major butter parts off so someone doesn't get just a mouthful of butter, which I'm sure they wouldn't complain, but towel. Okay, so while those things are doing that, let me put in the other cake because for some reason I was like, I can't put in the other cake and like not record that on camera. And I will say, I do not screw up baking like this when you guys aren't watching. It's like when you're typing something and you're sharing your screen and everyone's watching you type and you have so many typos versus when you're typing at your desk and you're just like, and you're like amazing. So normally, baking does not go like this for me. Normally, I'm considered a decent baker, but whenever I record it, I don't know if it's because I'm distracted because I'm talking at the same time, because a lot of the times when I'm baking, I'm just saying the recipe out loud to myself and counting to myself. And then that's pretty much it. And with this, like I'm talking to you guys, so I don't know if that's screwing me up because I can't focus on more than one thing, obviously. Or if it's just because I'm like, no, that'll work. When in real life, I would maybe take a few more minutes to be like, you know what, you should play this safe so that you don't have to redo it. But anyhow, now that we're back on camera, let's put the other cake in so that it has time to bake and do cool. I'm not as concerned about that one because we do have ready-made frosting. So I could actually do that tomorrow morning if I really needed to, but let's go ahead and put it in. And then, I keep forgetting. So after I do that, I am going to show you guys the disaster that's over there right now, okay? It's fixable though, which is fine. All right, we're gonna set a timer again because I definitely forgot that these were in the oven until I was over doing the laundry, and thankfully they're not burnt. The top's a little bit well done, but not burnt, so that's good. Let me look on the box and guess. Okay, so a 13 by 9 inch pan takes 34 to 38 minutes. And this is about twice-ish that big. So I'm gonna go 40 minutes because the surface area is twice as big as well. So it's not like it's twice as deep. I don't know if that sounds like it makes sense, but in my brain it makes sense. So I'm gonna set this for 40 minutes. And that will remind me to check on it. It probably won't be done, but it will be a good point to reassess. All right, let's check on these lovelies. No, it's only been a couple minutes, but yeah, it's mostly melting the outside. Right, get these guys in here. That was a fun sound. I don't know if you heard that, if that was picked up on the mic or not. It was kind of like a kerthunk sound. Okay, so we'll save these. Use those as wax paper that I forgot to buy. Brilliant. I'm brilliant. As I say that right before, I'm going to go show you the disaster that's behind me that is not brilliant. Nor are all these dishes that I'm making for myself to have to wash. And I'm carrying these awkwardly because my hands are covered in butter now, but these are also covered in butter, so okay, let's wash. All right, I'm coming to get you guys. All right. This one's okay. It didn't drip. Well done. Maybe because it's the pink one. I don't know. But these guys, no, no. Boop, boop, boop. So it is fully baked, but you could see how it went over. And this is what, when I figured out that that was happening, that's how much more still baked over. And you see all my dirty dishes in my sink. There's some. You can see me scraping it on the sink there, and there's some that I scraped off the bottom of my oven. I think I got it all off the oven and the grid so that, or not the grid, the metal shelf thing that I can't remember the name of off the top of my head. But yeah, here we are. So this will be fine because we'll just slice it there and slice it there so that they're even. And then we will release the spring form and should be able to decorate those pretty okay. And I'm going to eat this. Yummy. All right, let's put you back where you belong over here. And yes, I realize that ring light is absolutely not on. When I was getting ring lights, I didn't, ooh, sorry guys, sorry. Hopefully you didn't get motion sick. When I was getting ring lights, it didn't occur to me that I should maybe get one that was battery powered instead of like plug-in. And honestly, I say that and there's a plug literally like halfway down one of the tripod legs. But I'm just being lazy. I feel like there's probably enough light. All right. No, I could save these and say they're unicorn poop. My daughter would actually get a really big kick out of that, but I'm gonna eat it. Yep, still tastes fantastic. Like I said, it's hard to screw up box cake mix. Screw up your oven, but box cake mix, it's still good. Okay. I shouldn't point with a knife, that's very aggressive. And the mountain of dishes continues. That's really good cake, I'm not gonna lie. What are we doing? All right. Got distracted because I was looking up how to soften butter to room temperature. I have a tab open on how to use piping tips, as in tips, not tips as in tips on how to use tips. That would have been a clever, more clever name. Anyway. All right, I've read these instructions. I'm going to read them again. All right, we need 1 pound of unsalted butter at room temperature. It's still working on coming to room temperature. We need 2 tablespoons of heavy cream plus extra for consistency. So I've got plenty of heavy cream. This hasn't been opened yet. I need 2 tablespoons of pudding mix or cornstarch. Since the pudding mix is the first one, I went with the pudding mix. 1 teaspoon of salt, which I've never made this before, so I am going to input the salt in because I don't know how it will react if I don't. Maybe it'll just be far too sweet. Salt. 1 teaspoon of clear vanilla extract. So happy they had this at the store. I think I said that before, but I actually texted my husband. I'm like, I'm at the store buying a pound of butter and 2 pounds of powdered sugar. And he's like, can you get lettuce? I'm like, yes, I can. Was so thankful. I also texted him, I'm looking for clear vanilla because we already have vanilla extract, but it's not clear vanilla extract. And if you want a nice colored frosting that's going to take up food dye really well, the clear stuff is better. All right, so 1 teaspoon clear vanilla extract. They have a 1/4 teaspoon of clear almond extract, but I don't know if any of the kids have nut allergies, so I'm leaving that out, especially since it's just a flavoring. And then we have 2 pounds of confectioner sugar. So I also had powdered sugar, a 2-pound bag of it, but we had used some of it, so I had to go buy another 2-pound bag of powdered sugar. Excuse me, even though we never use it. All right, so this is one of those situations where if you had a test and the instruction said, read all the questions before completing the test, we are going to be reading all of these directions before we start in case there is something important at the end for a beginning step. Because I know a lot of times recipes put like helpful tips at the end. It's like, can you put that tip in the recipe at the pertinent point? Because that would make so much more sense. Anyway, in the bowl of stand mixer with the paddle attachment, which, let's go get the paddle attachment. The paddle attachment. Cream butter until creamy. It's very descriptive. About 30 seconds. Although this recipe, it does have the amount of the ingredient directly under that direction instead of having you have to scroll up to the recipe. So appreciate that. Well done. And I'll link down below in the description the recipe that I'm using. Then add the heavy cream, followed by the pudding mix and salt. Combined well, but don't over mix. It says scarp, I think they mean scrape, the sides and bottom of the bowl for any butter that may have gotten stuck. All right. We'll use a little spatula for that because it can get down in there a little bit better. All right. Add the vanilla and almond extract as well as any other flavoring you want. So we're just doing the vanilla. Next, add the powdered sugar in 2 batches. Again, combine well, but don't overmix. Then whip for 2 full minutes. I will have to look up what speed is the whipping speed. Or do I need to switch the paddle of the attachments? Whip for 2 full minutes. Check to make sure it's not too stiff and not too gritty. If necessary, add 1 to 2 tablespoons heavy cream or milk to adjust consistency. Milk some more if necessary. The total mixing time for this buttercream should not be more than 5 minutes. Okay, this is why we're reading it all before, because I'd be mixing, adjusting the consistency, and then like 10 to 12 minutes would have gone by, and then I'd hit number 6 and be like, oh, crap. Okay, 7, you can divide the buttercream into the number of colors required. Take note that colors will also affect the consistency of your buttercream. And in the notes, ensure the butter is at room temperature when creaming or you will have little lumps of butter and buttercream. Sift the powdered sugar twice if needed when making this buttercream. Any bits of sugar left in can clog the piping bag and become very frustrating. All right, so I don't have a sifter, but I got this colander specifically because it was like a fine mesh. And this is what I use generally for sifting flour and stuff, and it works pretty well. So we'll use that. When adding gel, do not overmix as it incorporates too much air into the buttercream, causing air pockets in the piping bag. Okay, so that's when we're adding our food coloring. I've got just liquid ones instead of gel ones. Add color to small batches and a tiny bit at a time. A little can go a long way. Use gel, not water-based colors. Water-based colors will affect consistency. If you have to use water-based, use less cream milk at the beginning of the recipe. And y'all, that is why we read the tips, because sorry, I keep hitting you guys on the microphone. That's why we read all the way to the end, because it didn't say gel food coloring, because that's not part of the recipe. Okay, so this is definitely water-based. It's got vegetable juice, glycerin, sugar, water, vegetable juice, citric acid. Okay. The yellow has turmeric in it, so that's cool. All right. So I guess I will try 1.5 tablespoons of the heavy whipping cream. And my husband's home, so my dog's gonna bark. If the buttercream is too soft to pipe, add powdered sugar. If the buttercream is too stiff, add fresh cream or milk, but do it 1 teaspoon at a time. Okay. Stay at room temperature for 3 days. Will start to melt if it's too hot. I'm not using store cover with cling wrap to prevent crushing. Okay. The rest of it's all about storing it. I'm not going to be storing it. Okay. So I'm going to pause here so I can go say hi to my husband. And also to let this warm up a little bit more. Sorry, I feel like I'm getting very cozy with the mixer, but be right back. All right, y'all, that was a short pause for you, long pause for me. Checked in with my husband who just got home, and he's been ill, so I wanted to make sure he was doing okay. He was tired, so he's taking a nap, and he's got some earplugs in, so we can get on with this without disturbing him too much. I also stopped for a little bit longer because I realized I hadn't eaten lunch yet, so I ate lunch real quick and watched a YouTube video about how to make buttercream flowers. So that was helpful. I went ahead and cut up my butter wrapper into small pieces. They use parchment paper, but this is what I have to work with. Oh my goodness. So that's good. I've got the cutting board out because we'll apparently, once I do that, put them on the cutting board and put them in the freezer so that they harden up before I put them on the cake. So those things are good. And we will put that one to the side. I also wanted to give the butter more time to come to more for room temperature. In the recipe, it says 30 to 45 minutes. It's definitely been that. I think it's still a little bit warmer than room temperature, but we're going to go ahead and do it because I'm running out of time. It's like 1 p.m. now. I did take the sheet cake out of the oven because it was done. So now all the cakes are cooling. So let's get to this recipe. So we are going to cream the butter, and then we're going to add the heavy whipping cream, but not quite as much as it says in the recipe. I need to get my measuring, I think I just need the little measuring spoons. Yes. All right, so we have our measuring spoons. Don't need this yet. Let me go ahead and open up this so everything's open before the critical moment that I actually need it. We'll save that because we're not going to use very much of this. Does this have a pull thing on the spout? Yes. Let's go ahead and do that. Warmed up my tea again. All right. We're at the point of, I was going to look up what number setting on KitchenAid is for whipping, which seems like a weird thing to type in. 8 to 10. Okay. This baby is going to be going at high speeds. Deep breaths. We can do this. We're going to do this together. We can do it. All right, let's get to it. Oh. Helps if you put the bowl up so that the paddle is actually in the material. Okay. Now let's get to it. And did I just count to 30 seconds? Absolutely I did. Let me scrape this down the sides. That actually worked really well. All right. I would say that's creamy. I'm going to do it for just a little bit longer since it was, well, no. Count to 30 seconds, leave it alone. We don't want to over mix. All right. Then add heavy cream followed by pudding mix and salt. Combine well, but don't over mix. See? This is why you read instructions beforehand. Don't over mix. 2 tablespoons of heavy cream, so we're going to do 1.5-ish because we're using the water-based food dye. And then 2 tablespoons of pudding mix and 1 teaspoon of salt. So let me get my teaspoon ready. All right. 1. A little bit less than 2. Sorry for touching you guys again. I thought it was blinking saying that it wasn't recording. All right, 2 tablespoons of pudding mix. Let's see if I can tear a smaller hole in here. There we go. One. 2. All right, and we're going to put that back in the box so it doesn't tip over. And 1 teaspoon of salt, which seems like a lot of salt, but this is coming from someone who doesn't use much salt in their baking and cooking. Trusting the recipe. 1 teaspoon of salt. All right. Okay, that looks like it's been combined. I don't know how well. Then add the vanilla extract. So we're just gonna let it, that is a teaspoon. Really need to cut my nails, but I'm happy I didn't because I find it impossible to get these off unless you have longer nails. Okay. Let's turn it back on a little bit so it gets incorporated. And if y'all are wondering, like, how does she not know how to do buttercream frosting if you bake a lot? I bake a lot, but I don't make frosting much because I actually don't like the taste of it that much. I'm the person who like gets the piece with the least amount of frosting when I eat cake, and then there's still inevitably some frosting left over, so I either give it to my kids or my husband, or a friend if they like the frosting. Okay, that feels better. Next, add add the powdered sugar in 2 batches. Again, combine well, but don't overmix. And then there was a tip to sift it. So let's go ahead. I guess I do need my scissors again. I thought I was done using them, but I am not. All right. I guess we can just cut this entire thing off since we're going to use the entire 2 pounds. Need to caution my mother-in-law about eating this frosting, although I'm sure like store-bought frosting is just as bad, but you know, she's doing a low sugar thing and I don't know if that's for general health or if she actually has, you know, some sort of like she really shouldn't have sugar kind of thing going on. Should have cleaned the other. Yep. It's going to take forever, so I will definitely speed up this process. It actually wasn't nearly as bad as I thought. I just had to get the technique down, I guess. All right, in 2 batches, guarantee this is going to fly up in my face. We'll see, though. And I just inhaled some from sifting. Boy, is that sweet. All right. Amazing. I didn't see myself doing that. I guess we'll dump the other way this time. That's going to be fantastic cleanup too. Powdered sugar is not the easiest thing to inhale again. To clean up. All right, let's see if I can do this as efficiently as last time without dumping it everywhere. Okay, that felt so aggressive. There's buttercream on my wall over there, and definitely spit out some at me. Before we move on, I think it's good. Before we move on, I'm going to clean up this a little bit so that, here, is this the one that's kind of wet-ish? No, this is one that's more wet. So let's just so we have a little bit more of a clean spot. And if you guys saw me holding my hands up like this, that's because I didn't want to have to scrape buttercream off my laptop here. And I was being very careful to make sure I did not put my hands anywhere near the paddle when it was going that fast. All right. All right. Not perfect, but better. I'm going to go ahead and rinse this off a little bit so I can use it to scrape down without having the pre-mixed stuff on here. Okay. Some of that was just like pure butter. All right, I'm gonna unplug this because it scares me a little bit. Make sure we put this guy back in. All right, you can just be there. Guys, it looks way more like frosting than the other times I've done this. Let me see if it's gritty or not. It's actually quite good. Yay! It's very creamy and the vanilla is giving it a good flavor. It's not just like super, super sweet. Yeah, very happy with that. So let's get this. Oh, it's nice and soft now too. I think this bowl was almost too small for this. Forget what size this is. Um, but my husband really wanted a KitchenAid for a while for like making dough and that sort of like pizza dough and that sort of thing. And the motor attachment on the top here. So I think it was the year he turned, well, the Christmas before he turned 40. So his birthday's at the end of January. So I got him this mixer, which was a big splurge as a combo like Christmas and birthday gift for him. And I got the meat grinding attachment. So he likes to make sausage with that, and we'll get like Boston butt when it goes on sale for 99 cents a pound. And he'll cut some up, and then we have like leftover bits, I guess. And he'll grind that up and make it into sausage, and he really likes doing that. Guys, I'm so happy with how this turned out. All right. That stuff is not quite mixed in red well, so I'm going to get rid of that. The rest of this looks fantastic. Guys, this was the part that I was really nervous about, because if I screwed up this part, like piping, it was going to be impossible, right? And it's not just, I feel like you can't buy the buttercream at the store. You can buy like the buttercream flavored frosting, but it won't harden up properly. And it also has a bunch of juk in it that you know, probably to keep it soft so that you can spread it easier. All right. Maybe I will frost that second cake in buttercream, because the frosting that I got for it is very shelf stable. So we can just use it later. I'm sure my son's request for a birthday cake is not going to be as complex as my daughter's. Okay. All right, now hopefully it starts to get fun for me now that I'm past the part that I was like really, really anxious about screwing up. I'll take the screw up with the cakes earlier any day over this, because that's just cleaning up. That's nothing big. Guys, look at that. Looks so good, and this is quite heavy now. Oh, I'm so excited, you guys. I'm really, really pleased. And I know most people are going to be like, it's just buttercream frosting, Sarah. But this is something that I've screwed up before. Okay. So I'm actually going to put these things in that chair over there so that I don't mess it up. Y'all, you better believe that I'm going to make my husband taste some of this when he comes out and be like, look at how awesome of a wife I am. Trophy wife, even though I'm not, because I work, but trophy wife. All right. Can I say all right 50 to 500 more times. I do recognize how much I say all right in these videos. I'm very conscious of that. However, I've not been able to change it very much. So you guys, I guess you're just gonna have to deal with it. I say all right to myself a lot. Even at work, sitting there, I say all right to myself a lot. All right and okay are my best friends. These can go elsewhere. So I have this, but we've got like so much of this, and the other cakes are tiny. Like, they're tiny, yeah? All right, so, haha, there it goes again. Totally unintentional. I'm just gonna throw this one away because it fell on the floor, and while I wiped it off, it did have butter on it before, so I don't trust that there's not dog hair sticking to it. And we're winning right now, so I don't want to screw that up. All right. Now, I did watch a tutorial, like I said, during lunch on some flowers. I'm going to move this so I have more space to function. More powdered sugar, yay. Guys, I'm sure I'll be finding powdered sugar for like days at this point, but that is all right. Whew, okay. All right, now I think I want to make the flowers first, and then I can cut and frost the cakes, because that'll give them a little bit more time to cool, and then do I want to do that? Or do I want to get a base layer of frosting on the cake first? No, because you know what? I can use the other frosting if I need to frost the cake if I run out. But do I want mixed frosting flavors? Not really. All right, well, I am going to, I think, spoon some of this out into bowls, mix in the food dye, get some piping bags going, and then practice doing some flowers, because in the tutorial they used this. They had a little stick thing that looked really helpful that I do not have. It did not come in this kit, but I can turn it like this, hopefully, and without it being too much of an issue, and I can practice some flowers, and then they actually go in the freezer for like 15 minutes to set so that you can get them off the paper and put them on the cake without, you know, them melting in your hand. So let's do that. In the tutorial, they used this tip, which hopefully you guys can see. It's called a leaf tip. So we're going to use that one. And they use this tip, although theirs was like smaller, so I think this might make bigger flowers. And then I don't have the other tip that they used. And this card is like not at all helpful about how to use. But I could maybe do some experimenting with some of these other ones. With this one. Sorry, this one. Something like that. Doing little filler shapes, or that one looks fun. So I'll just have to see. Okay. This can go up. This can go up. Try to get my space a little bit more clear. I do need this. Do not need the candle. I'll put that over here with the unicorn stuff. All right. This is for frosting the actual cake, so we'll set those aside. So what did I say? I said this one and this one. We'll practice with those first. get the food dye going here. Y'all, it's raining so hard outside right now. Although very happy that it's raining today and not tomorrow. So we always go to a park. We rent a shelter at a park for my daughter's birthday. And we have gotten so lucky in past years of not being rained out or anything like that. So it is going to be colder tomorrow. I think the high is supposed to be in the upper 50s, but we'll take that. I wish I had more of these clean. These are like the perfect size for this. No. All right, we'll start with this mini because I don't want it to get dyed. I don't want it to dye any of the other stuff, right? All right. Just gonna do like 2 scoops of these and start off with, because I don't need like a super full bag, I don't think. Actually, let me right, I'm bringing Mr. Unicorn back over because I kind of want the colors to maybe match this. I think she'd really like that. Yeah, I think let's do that for a plan. Okay. So the purple, the pink, and kind of like this teal. So the teal, we're gonna do some blue and some green. I think we'll do that in this one. Does it have any guide for how much to start off with? Add color drop by drop. Okay, it's not terribly helpful. And then I'll do like 2 green. Oops. Wonder if I should have shaken that first. We'll see how it comes out. Okay, so the green is coming through stronger than the blue right now. But I think I added way more green than I intended to because it kind of came out in a little bit of a stream rather than drops. All right, let's see. I think they're going to end up more pastel-y just because the frosting is white. Guess I should have added the blue and then just a little bit of yellow rather than the green. All right, well, maybe these are the leaves then. Maybe these are just the leaves. And then we'll try it again. All right, let's try to make that again with adding a little bit of yellow to the blue. Okay. 10 drops of that, we'll do 2 drops of this. Or maybe we'll start with 1. Oh gosh. I guess I do need to shake them a little bit first. All right, and I'm not concerned that there's a little bit of green on this one. I don't think it'll affect it that much. That's a little bit closer. It just needs to be more vibrantly blue. Apparently I'm horrible at color matching. You know how they have some of those, boop, boop, boop. How they have some of those, and yes, I did just boop as they drop because I have small children. I was in a park the other day and I almost yelled puppy when I saw a dog. But they have those reels or whatever where it's like you give someone a like handbag or just any object that's a specific color that you want to match, and they like know exactly like the color combination to do to match it. It's just crazy to me. All right, now this looks exactly like the other one again. And I don't want to mix this too much because I don't want it to get tough. So what I'm learning here is that yellow and the green are very powerful. And it's going to be very hard to get a very bright color. Like this, so I'm going to have to settle for a less bright color, which is fine. You know, I should have looked up an RGB calculator online to do this. That would have made it easier. All right, so that's not matching exactly, but it looks more blue. That looks like a good leaf color. We're going to leave it at that. All right, next we're going to do purple. So I'm just going to do equal amounts here. Let me shake this first. Okay, so that's 5 of each. Maybe just 2 more of each. Get it a little bit of a stronger purple. You know, I didn't even think about this part as a challenging part because I'm silly. I feel like that's a little bit more of a pink purple than a blue purple, but I don't know. We're gonna leave it. Okay. And this time I am gonna wash this off because I want this one to be pink. Not gonna lie, that's not the easiest thing to wash off because it's got so much butter in it. Okay. We'll try 10 drops of this and see how it goes. Look at that. That's pretty good. Okay, so we've got the pink, we have the purple, we have teal, kind of, and we have some green. All right, let's see how to do this. So it doesn't say to put these in here, but I'm pretty certain you're supposed to put this in here. I don't know if it's a guide for like where to cut off the thing. And then you put this guy in here. Oops. Okay. So I need to cut more of these off. So it shows that tip sticking out. All right. I think that's good. And then you're supposed to put the tip on. And then put the little coupler on. All right. I don't know that this part is truly necessary, so let's just take that out of the equation because that seems more difficult. And then you have to, like, you don't know what color you're doing. Okay, so this is the tip that she was making like roses with. So we're gonna try those first. All right, let me put my food dye back in the box. Okay, we'll put these guys over here. And get this guy loaded up with some pink. And they also come with these little rubber bandies, but whenever I've attempted stuff like this in the past, I've always just like twisted the back of the bag and it's worked fine. And that's what they did in the tutorial, so I'm gonna stick with that rather than relying on a rubber band. Okay, so that's kind of towards the bottom of the tip. All right, so they said if you want it a flat flower, you want this part up, you go like this. Wait, no. Let me go back. I'm gonna silence this. Let me go back and watch. Where are we? Okay, I don't want to do those. I want to do, I feel like the roses. Oh, those aren't too bad. Maybe I can do some of those. So this part, this smaller part is up. She's just doing like this. And this tip is a lot less narrow than the tip she is using. So let's give it a go and see. them. Don't watch. Is that other? Okay, just to. Do. So let's do this up. Just hold it up. What? And I don't eat I know. So that's your things that come out. But you know, just from come here. Really. Right. You just make that powder. All right, guys, so here are the results. Not fantastic, not horrible. So we're going to put these in the freezer for 15 minutes, and I will probably start cutting the cakes and icing them and stacking them. Took a pause to talk to my husband because he's awake now. I put the flowers in the freezer, and I started doing this because my husband was asking about ETA because our kitchen is a mess. And he's thinking about getting, supper for the kids. Usually we make pizzas on Friday night, but I think we're just going to do frozen because every single square inch of counter space is taken up. But I started doing this without y'all. Sorry. So I've cut off the top. When I do it in these, I actually leave them in the spring form and cut off the top. So you got a little cake topper. I'm just going to slide it in here. Ooh, I don't know if both of those are going to fit in there. So then, unlike this knife, get a sharp knife to do this, but this is what I have to work with right now. So I have to work it back and forth a little bit, but leaving it in here helps me make sure that I'm getting a straight level cut. There we go. You might think, why do you need a level cut? Because I'm going to stack these. Think it might be a little bit too tall with the flowers. We'll try it out because this is what we have. All right, let's release these guys. Hopefully they come out well. There we go. All right, let me wash this again. Say I'm going to frost it with a buttercream because there's a ton left. All right, and if you heard that, that was just my husband leaving. I think he's gonna go pick up balloons and other stuff. So let's do a crumb coat. We'll see if we can do this. And let me actually boil some water in the kettle so I can have a warm knife to do this with. This cup should be okay. Yeah, I think I have maybe used every single dish in my kitchen at this point. Yeah, I definitely want to do this with a warm knife and not this spatula. All right, I'm done with that, so that can be closed. Oops, I forgot these. Let's clean up a little bit more. That goes there. And let's go ahead and release this guy. I'll leave him on the little plate though. Not sure if I'm going to use these or not. These are supposed to be like for spreading the stuff out. We'll see. This can go away. All right.
Absolutely will be going in the fridge overnight so that the stuff does not melt.
All right, y'all. My phone died, so I had to put you guys on a charger for a little bit. But my husband has gone to do some errands. He is picking up the kids, and as long as they have a good report, which I'm sure they will, he's going to take them for ice cream because that is their Friday thing. So I stopped decorating my daughter's unicorn cake and went ahead and just iced the sheet cake that the other kids are going to have. And I had these sprinkles, and I figured icing the cake, which you had already seen me just do, and putting the sprinkles on was a good thing to kill time on my phone charged. But look, I hope the kids find this fun. I think it looks like a unicorn barfed sprinkles all over it. So I think we have met the prompt. We have fulfilled the proposal. And I think this is hopefully going to bring delight and joy to my kids and all the other kids there, and hopefully the parents too. These are really fun sprinkles. They're nice and bright. So let me go get the lid, put the lid on. I'll put this over there, and then we'll get back to putting my not so great but decent for practicing for 2 minutes flowers on the cake. Let me go get that. And in case you're wondering, yes, I use the full sprinkles of these. Okay. So we probably don't need this anymore unless we're under duress. I put this on, it fits perfectly. I think the flowers are going to not be an issue there. I wonder if I should go ahead and put this in most of the way so I can kind of visualize a little bit better. Should we put it towards the front a little bit? Okay, let's see. Where are the eyes? Here are the eyes with the eyelashes. So I guess just kind of try to put it in the middle-ish. All right, and I'm not pushing it all the way down because I don't want to have to clean frosting off of this thing that much. But it's going to look kind of like that, except for it's going to be pressed down all the way. Let me get the flowers out of the freezer here. Okay, and at this point, we're just going to kind of wing it. I realized before that I needed my green in the bag to be able to attach the flowers to here. So let's, okay, I want to put some under here. So let me take this out. Okay, that hole will be good. So let's do a little bit here. And, oh, that's kind of a cool looking leaf. My leaves kind of sucked before, so. Oops, get on there, stay on there. Okay. Why don't we put some of these really sloppy first ones on, and since they're frozen, they come off wonderfully well. Okay, let's see, what's another wonky one? Here's another wonky one. I didn't put that quite in the right spot. Boop. And then the lady who had the tutorial online said just fill in with leaves. So that's what we're doing. Oops. Not like that, Sarah. Goodness. Get together. All right. So I think we want the mane. So here are the eyes. I'm not going to lie, that's already looking really cute, even though it's not very professional looking. I think it's going to look cute. My husband said he would keep the kids until 4. It is 3:22, so let's get going. Oops, a little air bubble came out there. We're just, oh, I think I was just doing the leaves wrong. Those are way easier. This one looks decent. I like the multiple colors on this one, so we'll go ahead and put him right there. And let's do a pink one here. All right. And we need to fill the in-between here. And they said if your flowers start to feel like they're melting, just put them back in the freezer. So that's what we're gonna do. Oh, this guy needs some more glue under him. Definitely don't want them falling off. All right. All right, let's see. So this is what it's looking like so far. I am facing it towards me because that's a little bit easier for me to do. Let's do another purple one. This one looks good. Actually, we'll do this one because it's a little bit different. Do this one here. Put a little bit more down here so that it stays on a little bit better. Filler leaf there. Sorry guys, I just gotta turn this around. I mean business right now. Filler leaf there. Filler leaf there. Filler leaf there. Okay, so hopefully that is going to keep them on here. Do some more on the side here. All right, so we need blue one. Guess we can kind of make it side here. Put some more frosting there so that it guys, I think I'm getting better at these leaves. It's making it look much, much better. Maybe I'll put a little dot in here, not a leaf dot, but like a little dot for the center to cover that stuff up. Put little green dots in the center to cover that up. Or am I making it worse? Okay, so we need maybe purple over here and another blue down here. Let's see. It's a good looking blue. Let's put you down here, buddy. Oh, you're gonna fit? All right. Stay in there. Sorry, I'm too lazy to switch tips at this point. And we need another purple here. Let's see. This purple one's pretty. Get him under there. All right, we need some more leaves here and here. Oops, that one's kind of messy. That's okay. It's starting to get not leaf-like anymore. All right, got those. All right, so that's kind of going down to one side. Should have a few more on this side. This one needs a purple here. I think I'll do one of these spiky pink ones. Do a spiky pink one because that is fun. I think maybe that'll be our last one here. If I can get it to fit in here properly. Oh, some of it's breaking off. Have to see if I can fix that up a little bit. It's a little bit too big. Let's see if I can. Yeah, that'll be fine if it's like scooched in. We'll just put some leaves here. Another leaf here. And here. And here. Down here. All right, let's see how that's gonna look. Hopefully I left enough room for this. Sitting on top of the flowers a little bit, I feel like I need another flower down here to kind of go down the front. So it's not such a harsh line on that side. All right, it's gonna need to be a pink one. Let's see if we can do this tiny pink one here. Racing against the clock, guys. Oh no, my piping bag came off. Use my thumb a little bit if I can. No, it's just gonna come out the back. Well, that's unfortunate. I guess I cut a little bit too much of that bag off, which I thought I was doing. But I think we're okay. See if I can get enough out just to put a little bit on top of that one because that's wonky looking. Maybe put a little bit more right here. So it doesn't fall off. All right. Guys, I think that's it. So this will end up kind of sitting up like that, I think. Her mane is going this way. Maybe could do a little bit more over here, but I think that is okay. I think that's okay. It's supposed to be kind of curving around because their manes don't go all the way over, right? All right, I am gonna call that done. And I hope she will be super pleased, super duper pleased with this. All right. Let me get you guys a close-up. I think the horn actually needs to be canted back a little bit like that. I think that's good though. Not professionally done, but I hope she will like it. All right, that's gonna do it for today because my goodness, this is a lot of footage to edit. And my family's gonna be home very soon and I need to finish cleaning up and finish laundry. But thanks for watching it all the way to the end. I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. And if you liked this little project, like and subscribe, and I will see you again next week. Bye.